the person who started this whole like shut it down, it was Vivek Ramaswamy. He's the one who started the whole shut down the bureaucracy, shut down the Department of Education. He didn't really touch much on Social Security because that's a more techie problem, and that's why he didn't really touch that. That's why Elon Musk is the one who's touching that right now. But he's the one who really pushed this idea forward, and obviously Trump is smart and he just ran on it. So this is the part, a lot of people are saying that if you bring it back to the states, that the places that they have like rural areas that might be affected because they don't have as many people and they don't have as many schools. But I'm thinking, well, I mean, if you're going to bring it back to the states, and I'm assuming, this is all speculation, I don't know, I'm just thoughts here. I'm assuming, you tell me what you think, I'm assuming that they're going to give the money to the states, and depending on the population of the areas, if there's no need to create a public school, they'll probably create a charter school, which tend to be smaller for less children. That would make more sense than creating a public. Usually public schools are way bigger, and they don't have the whole K through 8. K through 8 is more of a charter school thing. There's very few public schools, at least here in Florida, that are K through 8. So I think that this long term is going to be better. I genuinely believe that it should have always been to the states. It doesn't make sense for there to be a federal department controlling something that should be locally. So personally, I think that this is going to prove that a lot of ideas that the Democrat Party's presidents created was, again, good in the moment, bad long term. Jimmy Carter did the whole Department of Education because a lot of kids weren't graduating. So that was their reason to do it, and it worked. They started graduating. However, it's become a factory of just indoctrination. Nobody's actually learning. There's no real competition with the education system at all. Like I don't know about anywhere else, but at least in Miami, you see a bunch of schools like, oh, we're an A+ school, we're a B+, we're this, we're that. But those grades are measured by the test scores, the standardized test scores. And obviously, the better the grade, the more funding the school gets. The shittier the grade, the less funding it gets. And I know personally how that affects the education of the student because, for example, when we went to South Miami back in the day, we graduated 2014. Do the math. I'm not going to tell you how old I am. Do the math. So when we were in South Miami, senior high, we were supposed to be a magnet school, but we were not getting the funding for a magnet school because at the time we were like a C- or a C or something like that. The school didn't actually improve until we graduated, and then the school became a B school, and that wasn't because of us because we weren't a very good class. It was the one after us. Our class was very problematic, a lot of fighting, and the classes before us also. So, it should be based off of the actual teaching of the teachers. And that's how the grading system should work. It shouldn't be based off of standardized tests because it doesn't prove that you've learned anything throughout the year at all. To me, the FCAT or whatever the hell is going on right now, the FCAT never proved that I knew whatever I was being taught that year. All it did was it pressured me to have to pass this exam. My anxiety just strike because I freak out during tests. I don't know how you guys are, but I'm not a good test taker. I genuinely get very anxious before an exam.
It didn't help that they literally the whole year they were
it was just pushing you
telling you about it, basically getting you intimidated.
Exactly.
Or if you fail this, you fail.
Exactly.
No matter what you did.
Exactly. You could have.
Who wouldn't be intimidated? Who wouldn't be scared?
You could have gotten straight A's throughout your entire
Yep.
and not did good on the FCAT and failed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it?
Those tests were a scam.
Yeah. No. I wonder who. I'm sure a lot of people make money off those.
100%.
But it shouldn't be like that. Like we have a family member who went to that same high school in the 90s, and FCAT didn't exist, and it was like how it is in college and universities. There was a midterm and there was a final, and if you passed the midterm and the final, you passed. And that's it. And that's how you should measure the intelligence of the actual teacher, like of the school and the kids. Because if the overall average grade for midterms and finals for the kids is like, I don't know, 80%, then that proves that the teachers are doing a good job and they're actually teaching. And then that's gonna, I would assume, help actually get them a higher pay, which is another problem. Teachers are a part of the teachers union, so if they do a shitty job, they're still gonna get paid, which I'm not okay with that. I think I read an article recently that Costco did this thing where like they pretty much told their employees, oh, if you choose to not be a part of the union, we'll pay you more. And I'm like, dude, that's genius. Why the hell can like teachers unions do that? Like I'm assuming that if the Department of Education is being dismantled, it's going to go back to the states, it would only make sense for there to be some type of competition. And they tell us, the teachers, yo, if you do this good of a job and you choose to get out of the union, we'll pay you more, you know? So I think the unions are eventually going to crash because of this, because they were being, what I'm trying to use the word, not surviving. What's that word? Like when somebody is kind of like on their deathbed and they're being pretty much stayed alive by a machine. What is that called? I forgot what that's called. My voice lost.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're
whatever.
trying to.
It's like in the tip of my tongue and I can't, whatever. Point is,
hanging in there.
Yeah, like they're only alive because the Department of Education existed. That's why teachers unions were alive. If you bring it back to the states, eventually the unions are just gonna disappear, you know, because capitalism is a beautiful thing, and they're gonna realize, wait a minute, we can make more money without the teachers unions. Why didn't we think of this earlier? So that's what I think. I can be wrong. Again, just speculating, but I'm assuming that it could work if this actually happens the way we think it's gonna happen.